Sunday Salon, and it's so good to have you all here, our guests from the Civitan, and everyone on Zoom. So welcome to this beautiful Sunday morning in October. Oh, you guys, we got the weather. It's so great. I made chili last night, and it was so delicious. And now, if the Razorbacks had won, well, that would have been the ice, you know, the cherry on top. But that didn't happen. But nonetheless, we say at Unity, this is the month for zeal, and I just love this. Our founder, Charles Fillmore, says, "I fairly sizzle with zeal and spring forth with a mighty faith to do which ought to be done and must be done by me." That's my one of my favorite quotes. I fairly sizzle with zeal. That just brings the energy up. And so let's use that energy. This is our opening statement. I'm gonna take this down. Let's say our opening statement together. There is only one presence and one power active in my life and in the universe. God, the source of all good. Let me see if I can get this going here. Nope. I never know when this one thing is going to work or not. In Unity, we have several traditions, and one of them is ever since Unity began, they published the Daily Word. It's a small little magazine, and it has a daily meditation. And the word for today is together. And I love that because I love when we gather together. I'm better when we work and play and pray together. All people everywhere are divine and human. And in our divinity, we are identical, while in our humanity, we are unique individuals. When I work and play and pray with others, something greater than the sum of our individual efforts and insights results. The awareness of divine love, just taking that in, grows and multiplies as we recognize it in one another and give it fuller expression. So that's our daily word, together. And I am so glad we are here together today. And then Unity was also founded on the prayer. The Fillmores simply started with prayer circles. And when we say a prayer, we think of the 5 movements. We start within our hearts and open, and then we claim what God is and that I am and I can and I appreciate it. It's these 5 movements. So this morning, I'd like to take us into prayer. And let us just open our hearts and minds to the love and the lessons we are about to receive. Just relax for a moment and be in touch with the sensations of this beautiful fall morning. Feel the cool air. Feel yourself as you're maybe holding a warm cup of coffee. It's a beautiful day. Today, we are focusing on a sentence in the prayer of protection, and it is, "The love of God enfolds me." So as you've closed your eyes, repeat that slowly. The love of God enfolds me. What does the saying feel like as you say it? Because I think prayer is the feeling. The love of God enfolds me. Now go deeper and center in this moment, clearing away any busy thoughts and hurts, relaxing any tension. Imagine yourself cozy on this morning. If you're at home at Zoom, maybe you're in your own little bubble, a comforter around you. Here in this beautiful lit room with the fall light coming in, it's so bright. Feel enfolded in love. You might even gently want to just stretch your arms, shake your hands, and give yourself a hug to feel that enfoldment. And with that we can feel as we stretch out, we can enfold the world in the love. So repeat that phrase, enfolded in God's love, picturing yourself held and embraced. This is not a love that travels to you from somewhere out there, but it's a supportive love emanating from the divine essence within you, from your heart, your divine essence, your essential inner being. Bask in the depth of the gifts of this divine love, be it peace, encouragement, comfort, and even strength. Oh, it just really lifts you up. I can turn to this love anytime I want to or need to. It's always there. Grounded in this love, I radiate it with divine light to shift any situation. I appreciate this opportunity to gather this beautiful morning, to be with guests and family and Zoomers, all of us together, praying together. I appreciate our unity principles that lift us up and transform life for us. We are grateful and we are enfolded in love, and so it is. And so it is. So this is one of my favorite songs to invoke that love. Let's see. Okay, now that's my favorite go-to love song. It reminds me of when I was a high school senior at Hall High School, and we had a talent assembly, and at the end we had baskets of paper flowers, and we all, little hippies that we were, went around the auditorium, see, and we were giving out the flowers. Oh my God, were we naive and innocent back then, but it was so much fun. It was so much fun. So, now, in case you haven't figured it out, we're talking about love today, but what we're doing in the month of October is we've got this prayer of protection that was written by James Dillard Freeman. This prayer is a little short prayer. We're going to do it at the end of the service, and it has 5 lines in it, just 5 lines, and in fact, this prayer was taken to the moon. Who took it to the moon? Was it Buzz Aldrin or somebody in a time capsule? They took it to the moon. This is, it's been translated all over the world. It's just one of those simple good prayers that a lot of people know. Of course, there's the Lord's Prayer and many famous prayers, but we were challenged to take this line by line. So last week we did the light of God surrounds us, and this week it's the love of God enfolds us. So that's what we're doing in October. And so the love of God. All right, I've got a granddaughter. Now, I don't always put her in the service, but I couldn't resist this. You know, talking about that innocence, do you know, I think you have to learn to express love. We were born in love, that's it. It's just here all the time, as I said in the prayer. But I think we have to learn to express it because, my God, that is not how she treated Domino the cat in the beginning. But we have learned, be gentle, pat Domino, you know, don't grab his tail, be gentle. And I just love that picture. And then you can just tell she's just really into it. Now, you know, if we have to learn love, guess what? I think we also have to learn fear. Because look, that's an ugly old witch on the front porch. You can't see her face, but it's such an ugly old animated witch. Aaron's not afraid of that witch. You know, I think we kind of have to learn that. You know, we start out very innocent. How do we learn fear? How do we learn love? It's through relationship. through relationship. Now, when we're babies, we're just interacting with people that are taking care of us. It's through relationship. And look at these, you know, we're happy to make our moms happy. We cry to bring our mom into relationship, into paying attention. We even get angry to get attention. We start with kind of the simple feelings. And you know what, with children, these feelings just pass through you. I've noticed like when Erin cries, you just give her a little attention and it's over, and she's forgotten it. You know, she holds nothing against you, it's not caught. But as we go along, you guys, we connect these feelings to needs of comfort and connection and survival, of course, and being calm. And these feelings pass through us. But as we grow up, sometimes we get caught in the strategies to meet the needs, and the feelings get kind of stuck with us. Something will happen that just kind of, you know, as we're older, that we don't understand, and it can get just stuck. And blame and judgment start coming along, and then we kind of separate from that innocence. We separate from that unity. And, you know, as we say, looking for love in all the wrong places, well, we begin to love objects and things outside of us. Or as a teenager, I was talking about being a singer in high school, you get a crush, or you think you've fallen in love, and you think, this person is it, this is it. And then you start kind of being attached to these things or these people, and some of that can be good. I'm not saying it's not all good or bad. I'm not trying to completely put a judgment or a value on it. But when we start to hold on to things, we begin to have fear of losing it. You know, so that's kind of what's going on. And then Albert Einstein wrote, our separation of each other is really an optical illusion of consciousness. This separation can be a source of anxiety and suffering. It's that fear of losing or being left out. And is it really true? I don't know. We have to think about that. The unifying power of love is the remedy for this. It is our capacity for communion, for empathy, for compassion. And it's kind of at the root of our service for one another. So, now, as we grow up, okay, we can get into that, but this was on, I want to play just a little bit of this clip. This really impressed me this morning. These are some teenagers. And, you know, we say our country is divided. We keep talking about that. But I think if we would pray from the other side of that problem, we'd realize there's a lot more unity than we realize. So let's look at this.
Some young Americans head overseas during their school years to meet people from other cultures with other points of view. But in a country as divided as ours appears to be, Lee Cowan explains how that same experience may be available without ever leaving our shores.
Can you guys see it pretty clearly?
Yeah, it's like a corner of it.
Under a nearly full moon, in the unpolluted darkness of a night sky over Kansas.
Oh my God, there's two! There's two satellites!
A group of student stargazers sat in a circle, taking turns on the telescope.
This is weird, some craters are like super tiny.
It was a bonding experience that was out of this world, especially given that only a day before, they were as foreign to each other as the lunar landscape itself.
Politically and just morally, what we believe is completely different. So I was like, are we gonna get along?
Everyone, they're like, what are your summer plans? And I'm like, oh, I'm going to Kansas. And without fail, everyone's like, why? Why would you go to Kansas?
Why? The better question may be, why not?
You don't want to always be comfortable. You have to do things that make you like, even if it's talking to a new person, it might make you uncomfortable because you have to, so you're not going to make new friends, you're not going to be able to experience life.
It's nice to meet you.
This past summer, more than 300 high school graduates signed up for a unique student exchange program. Unlike the well-known foreign exchange model that affords students a chance to study abroad in, say, Europe or Asia, this program gives students the opportunity to soak in a brand new culture without ever leaving the country.
We fund kids to spend a week in the summer after senior year in an American town that is politically and socioeconomically and culturally very different from the one that they're growing up in.
It's called the American Exchange Project, or AEP for short, co-founded by 29-year-old David McCullough III, the grandson of the late Pulitzer Prize-winning historian David McCullough.
I grew up in the ivory tower, like a life of enormous privilege. And I wanted to get out of all of that, see a part of the country that I'd not really been exposed to, but I knew was out there.
Ready to go. We're gonna miss you.
So, in 2016, he borrowed his mom's Mazda and spent the next 2 months driving across the country. Park Jack Kerouac, park Tom Sawyer, heading down the Mississippi.
I thought I'd be chased away. I thought doors would be slammed in my face. I thought people wouldn't want to talk to me. Not only did that not happen, the opposite of that happened everywhere I went.
I really enjoyed it.
For the past 3 years, he's been giving high school graduates that same experience. And so far, at least, it's having the impact he hoped it would.
Like my groups of friends are not really close to each other. So I feel like I've actually bonded with you guys more than I have with my own friends.
Now, I didn't want to play the whole clip. It's really good. I love Sunday morning, and I watched that and I went, oh, that's it. Because, I've showed my innocent granddaughter, and then we know that, then they accumulate all this stuff. But you know what? These are teenagers, but it's never too late to learn and to undo some of that. And I love this idea. I think there's so many more good stories than there are, yucky ones. And I love shining the light on this. So thank you for letting me share that with you. At some point we all make a return to love. Love is not about a relationship to an object, a vocation, a person, or really even a soulmate. It's about our relationship to life and God and the divine. In A Course of Love, it says, the Christ in you is wholly human and wholly divine, and it is the joining of the human and the divine that ushers in love's presence. As all that caused you fear and pain falls away and you recognize again what love is. And I know that Verena and I often talk about what we're getting rid of in our house, that we're letting go of things. But have you noticed as you go along in retirement or wherever you are in life, you start shedding things. Instead of collecting, you start shedding, and you really do come to this. And this is a scripture from the Upanishads in Hindu. Those who see all creatures within themselves and themselves in all others know no fear. Those who see all creatures in themselves and themselves in all creatures know no grief. How can the multiplicity of life delude the one who sees unity? So it's seeing unity. And Charles Fillmore, one of our founders, has said, God is not loving, God is love. The great heart of the universe and of humanity, from which forth is drawn all feelings, sympathy, emotion, all that makes up the joys of existence. God is love, not just he's loving. It's not just a characteristic. That is what he is. Now, many of you know that Maya Angelou was a unity master, and she described herself as a student of unity. And when Oprah asked her, where do you go for solace or for comfort? Maya told her that as a young woman, she was reading some of the basic books in unity. One of them is A Lessons in Truth. And when she read on the page, it just leaped from the page, God loves me. The thought was so powerful, she said, that years later, it still brought tears to her. That's why I'm who I am. because God loves me and I'm amazed at it and grateful for it. She struggled so much. If you know any of her biographies, Why the Caged Bird Sings, and then she read that and it just began to alter her life, transforming her. Now, as I was preparing for this lesson, I would sit there and think about love, and I didn't go gathering, sending out flowers all around, but I would be sitting there meditating on this, and it felt, as I was trying to evoke in the prayer, it felt so good, so warm. I just loved it. Well, that was Monday night. Then on Tuesday morning, I woke up late, and then I began to my schedule was off. I danced Nia, and they had canceled it, and I was just off. And then I had a fight with YouTube and PayPal. Any of y'all have ever had to do that? I mean, things were not going right. And I kind of got some things straightened out, and then I just sat down and had a cup of coffee, and I went, oh, wait a minute, where's that feeling of love? Where did that go? Because, in my body, I just was aware of, I was tense, I felt heavy, I just felt really yucky, something was just sitting on my chest. And then I said, okay, where's the love? And I started saying, well, the love of God enfolds me. Can I bring that back? Well, it was just, now I'm not saying it solved everything instantaneously, but I could start to feel the shift. And actually, I was kind of laughing at myself for getting caught up in that. I started untying the knots. Nobody died. It was just a hassle that I was going through. It just wasn't, it wasn't like I planned it for the day. That's all. Charles Fillmore also said, love insists that all is good, and by refusing to see anything but good, it causes that quality finally to appear uppermost in itself and in all things. Well, then that sounds a bit Pollyanna-ish, but then I'm accused of that for sure, because I tell my son all the time, goodness prevails. He keeps telling me, watch the news, Mom. Are you sure? Are you crazy? And no, the only thing what I've learned, is that it doesn't prevail immediately. But I really do believe if you go back in history, if you look at history, or you just look at your own life, goodness still prevails. I worked at a university, and I've dealt with a dean that was just horrible, and we thought he was just going to ruin everything. Well, he eventually got caught at not, at doing something that wasn't good, and he was fired, and he was gone. I've just learned in different little instances, goodness prevails, because I believe the good news about the principle of love, it's a great magnet. It pulls me into every circumstance, whether it's good or bad. And as love, I go into all circumstances. You can't run away from it. If you'll just let the feelings pass through and go through it, you can attract yourself into the details of life for love. The light of love wants me to shine, to heal, to transform, to shift, to unify, and to harmonize. That's the power of life, to unify, to harmonize, to attract. Well, it was truly challenging for me to hold that position. Appearances to the contrary can be very persuasive. I mean, if you look at the news, for example, or you listen to the arguments and all the clatter in Washington, D.C. and so forth, well, it's just human to judge and to complain. And for the moment, commiserating with the negative, I bet we all do it. I know I do. It makes us feel kind of okay. But it doesn't really last. It's not really a solution. As Eric Butterworth reminded us, we are not in the world to set it right, but to see it rightly. what if we have a built-in tolerance of disharmony? You know, really, in our own bodies, we know when we're out of alignment. We know that. We can feel it. And if we just trust that harmonizing power of love, then that just changes everything in relationship. Now, I've talked about babies, I've talked about teenagers. Now I want to tell you about a sweet love story in Unity. We have the Unity magazine, and I happen to be reading it. And we know that Charles and Myrtle Fillmore were the founders of Unity. And Myrtle died in 1831, and Charles remarried. So we have Cora Dedrick Fillmore. She worked in a jewelry shop in Kansas City as a young woman. And then she came to the Unity School of Christianity. And on September 8th, 1918, she was ordained as a Unity minister by Charles Fillmore. And she served as a director of Silent Unity, actually. And then she became a private secretary to both Charles and Myrtle. And then Myrtle died in 1931. And about 2 years later, Charles proposed to her. And she went, and she was younger than him too. And she said, "Oh no, Mr. Fillmore, we shouldn't do that." He said, "No, I need you. I need a partner." And y'all know, yeah. He needed a partner. So he had 2 sons, and one of them blessed the marriage. The other one kind of objected, but they all got over it, and she married him. Well, she made a huge contribution to Unity that I don't think gets talked about very much, because we all know about the story of how Myrtle Fillmore healed herself from tuberculosis. We know that it's almost like mythology, but it really is it's a true story. And we don't know much about Cora. Well, here's what Cora did. She was an amazing woman. She danced, which I love. She was very much into music, and she worked in Silent Unity, which is the prayer center for Unity. But because of her secretarial and writing ability, she got Charles to organize all of his scribblings and his speeches and all of the things that he had and that he didn't think was important. And she helped him organize that, and together they wrote some of the famous books in Unity, The Atom Smashing Power of Mind, and also Keeping a True Lent. And I think they wrote Teach Us to Pray together. And really, she allowed him to dictate, because I believe Charles didn't really like to write things down, but she allowed him to dictate, and then she wrote it down and transcribed it. So she really served a really important function in our Unity movement, and I'm not sure she gets a lot of she gets some credit, but it's just not widely known. Now, another thing that she did, and this is why I think it's a love story. So they really had a good marriage, and they were both very much older when they married. And she was a vegetarian, and she loved to juice. You know, she made all these celery juices and carrot juices, etc., for Charles. She wanted to keep him as healthy as she possibly could. And they say that at the end of a long day, he would just lie down in her lap and she would stroke his hair and help him to relax. She did everything she could to make this man, you know, stay on this planet a little bit longer. And I just think that's such a beautiful, touching story. It's a good love story. And in case y'all haven't heard, there is the Golden Bachelor now. and I've never watched The Bachelor before, but it's interesting. It's the same quality of this sweet love story. And so I don't know how that's going to turn out and if I'll stick with it. But anyway, there is love throughout our entire life. And we can just remember that line, the love of God enfolds me. You can say it in the morning, in the busyness of your day. You can just simply remember it and bring back that feeling And watch what happens, because honest to God, things will shift. They won't be as bad as you think they are. It's a wonderful way to get through a day. So, so that's kind of a long number, but I wanted you to, no matter what our age, we live in love. We're born in love, and it's all throughout our lives. And I just thought this was one of my favorite songs too, and a sweet tribute to love. So, so let's end with this feeling of love today in a meditation. And I'm going to use some of the words of Cora Fillmore actually as I do some of this. But as we sit here this beautiful fall morning, breathe into your heart and connect to the heavens and earth. You are loved. Breathe into your heart. Expand out through your arms and hands and enfold the world in love. You are loved. You are enfolded in love, and you can enfold all in love. And we start at the faith center. We start at our head, and we say, I have faith in the supreme power of love. And then we realize that love and wisdom go hand in hand. So allow the light of spirit to descend from your head into the heart. We join the head and the heart. And then actually to the pit of the stomach, where the wisdom center resides. We are connected. We are in union. Faith, love, wisdom. Faith, love, wisdom. Divine love and wisdom are united in me. I will sing of loving kindness and of justice. Then allow presence to descend to the renunciation center at the lower end of the back of the spine. Here, hold this thought. The forgiving love of Jesus Christ cleanses, purifies, and redeems me. Then follow the presence back to the heart center and realize that the law of love is written on your heart. Imagine the deep, tender love of spirit that must have filled the heart of Jesus when he said, I and the Father are one. Realize that in spirit, soul, and body, you are made perfect through the divine power of love. But always bear in mind that love and wisdom must first find expression through the conscious mind. Know that the conscious mind is aware of your new spiritual realization and is using it freely to connect with your words and actions. You are expressing the love of God in all your ways. Your spiritual realizations shine out through your eyes and express themselves in your voice. As we sit here and feel this enfolded embrace of love, we acknowledge that the well of love can never run dry. We call forth that magnetizing power of love, realizing that the desires that we need in our lives can bear fruit. I call forth the harmonizing power of love. It harmonizes thoughts and words and actions so that I really do see things rightly. And finally, I call forth the unifying power of love. I see myself in others, and others in myself, and God in us all. I send out this love, blessing me and all people in the world.
In this moment, in this place, I remember who I am, letting fear and worry fall away from me. I open my eyes and see there is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets us free. There is only love. When I lose myself, when it seems I've lost my way, when I go inside and quiet my mind, I can hear Spirit gently say, there is only love. There is only love. It's love that heals, love that sets us free. There is only love. There is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets us free. There is only love. There is only love. There is only it's a love that heals, a love that sets me free. There is only love. There is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets me free. There is only love. There is only love. There is only love. There is only love. There is only love.
So as we come back to this time and space, thank you for indulging me and joining me this morning as I don't know, I went through from the innocence of a babe to wherever we are and now in our lives. And we can just remember that line, the love of God enfolds me. You can say it in the morning, in the busyness of your day. You can just simply remember it and bring back that feeling and watch what happens, because honest to God, things will shift. They won't be as bad as you think they are. It's a wonderful way to get through the day.